What a win. Or as Ross would say, that felt like some much needed nourishment for a group that's tried pretty dang hard over this last month or so. In case you don't know, my name's Woody. Jace got me on to discuss some of the standout stats each week, so let's get straight into this week's Moorabbin Metrics. First up is the center of the match, and again, it's pretty hard to go past Liam Ryan. With only 11 disposals, he had an AFL player rating of 21.9, which is again back-to-back crazy ratios. He had 5 ground ball gets with 4 of them inside 50, 4 marks of which all of them were inside 52, with 2 being contested as well, 9 score involvements with 2 score launches, and he finished the day with 8 shots and scored 6 goals too. This means he's kicked 11 goals over the last 2 weeks, which is the most of any Saints player since Nick Riewoldt in round 22 and then the qualifying final of 2009. But I also thought Naz came pretty close to his best of last year, and I think it's hardly a coincidence that he also spent more time in this match in defence than any other match this year. Getting 32 disposals, 4 clearances with 1 from centre, 9 rebound 50s, 3 inside 50s with 775 metres gained and 314 assisted metres gained, 18 pressure acts, 12 score involvements, 4 score launches, 2 goal assists, and 3 shots on goal for 1 goal too. I also thought Mitch Owens had one of his better games of the year, and like Naz, I think it's hardly a coincidence that he spent more time up the ground with a higher stoppage split. He had 22 disposals, which was a season high, of which 15 were effective, which again was a season high. He had 14 contested possessions, which was a team high and a season high. He also had 10 ground ball gets, which again was a team high and season high, and this helped him achieve 3 clearances, which is again the most he's had all year. And before we move on, Sharman deserves a shout out for his efforts this week. He was clunking them all over the ground, but he specifically took 6 marks inside 50 and kicked 4 goals too. And likewise, Campbell Lake deserves a shout out because, well, he didn't get many disposals, but he had 26 pressure acts, which was a team high, and 5 tackles inside 50, again, a team high, and I think nearly over double the next person on the field. And before we go into the team stats, I want to give a final shout out to Max Hall for getting 100% disposal efficiency, but let's see what the team did as a whole. We won the overall disposals, winning the kicks but not the hand passes, which translated to handball meters gained, with the Giants getting over double us. However, when comparing this to the last time we met in round 2, we held them to less than 2/3 of their previous result. When looking at our disposal efficiency, we lost the overall battle but won the efficiency inside 50, aka shots per inside 50, which makes some sense as we didn't have the ball as much but used it fairly similarly, going at 7.62 disposals per inside 50 versus the Giants' 7.02. Overall, we lost the inside 50s too, but we managed to get 4 extra shots, which I think mostly came down to our defensive efforts, and we'll touch on them more in a moment, but I think there was a need to be more defensive this week, not just because the Giants like to run end-to-end, but because they beat us in the stoppages too. In fact, despite the win, this was the first week this year where we lost every major stat. We lost the hitouts to advantage, and overall clearances both from centre square and around the ground. However, when looking at score sources and origin, we can see that the Saints were much more effective, scoring 5 goals 1 from centre, which was only 1 point less than what we scored against West Coast, and the 8 goals 5 we scored from all stoppages was not only the best we've done all year, but the equal second best we've done since Lions returned to the club. Much of this was because of our efforts to level the contested possessions, of which we won the post-clearance contested possessions, the post-clearance ground ball gets, and the overall ground ball gets. While it was good to get on top of many of the contested stats, we did lose the uncontested footy, but with all the extra disposals and uncontested possessions, the Giants had more turnovers than us too, which means St Kilda won the disposals per turnover, going at 6.88 to the Giants' 6.44. However, the Giants did win the scores from turnover, going at 7.446 to St Kilda's 6.642. In terms of overall marks, we did lose, but again had more marks per disposal, going at 4.11 to the Giants' 4.06. We won the marks inside 50, not losing a single quarter. However, we lost the contested marks. But again, if we look at it quarter by quarter, we only ended up losing in the third. But here we get to what I think was the biggest difference this week in the defensive efforts. We smashed the Giants in tackles 71-45, which was the biggest tackle differential for the year and was the 3rd biggest differential since Lions' second tenure. We had over double the tackles per inside 50, which was the first time we've done that this year and was a complete reversal of the round 2 results. But we also beat the Giants in 1%ers and doubled their bounces too. But I think it's finally time to review some footage, particularly one of my favourite plays of the match. So here we are early in the second quarter. We're just outside the Giants' forward 50 and the ball is about to be thrown in. Marshall gets the hit out and Owens pushes off his opponent to get the first possession. He turns and gets met by another opponent before firing the hand pass outside of the pack to Windy, securing the clearance. Windy goes down the line to DeConning, who takes a strong mark. He gets up quickly and again gives the hands off to Windhager running past, and here we see one of my favourite parts of this play. Windhager gives it to Max Hall on the outside, and this gives Max the room to take the meters in front of him safely, as Windy can lay a shepherd if need be. He doesn't have to, as Max kicks it inside 50 to Brad Hill. Unfortunately, he doesn't take the mark, but here we see my second favourite part of this play. As after starting this chain, Mitch Owens comes barging through and nearly gets the crumb, but follows it up with a solid tackle. Now, I've been a big proponent of the Owens to the midfield idea for a while now, and I think this play shows exactly why. Not only is he strong enough to push players out of the way and get the clearance, but he's quick enough to follow the play up the ground and then experienced enough to make something happen when he's given a mismatch inside 50. So I think it's something we have to explore more. Now, we could look at some more footage like Stocker's amazing contested marks, Windy's amazing tackles, or Taru's bump, but realistically, we just need to bring that level of effort and hardness and use the ball well enough to get it up the ground and give our forwards an honest chance when we go inside 50. But that about sums up the stats for the week. If you want to see more of my face, I've got my own channel at Wooden Spoon Data, but I'll be here each and every week to go over the Standout Saints stats. I want to thank Jake for having me. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Go Saints.